Hello. I'm sure you're all delighted to know that the BAFTAs were held recently. I'm sure your life is now complete. As you know, I'm going to be looking into the BAFTAs, but not the fashion this time because, of course, we have to be aware that those who we think are paid to entertain us are really there to tell us what to do. And the BAFTAs is no different from all the other awards ceremonies which seem to be going on recently. The creator of a BBC show named Best Drama at the BAFTAs demanded "Get the Tories out" in comments that were hastily cut from the televised broadcast. Now, as some political pundit once said, when a political organisation says it's going to do something, you should listen to it. When various political despots have written their memoirs before they became despots and said they intend to do X or Y, you should believe these people think that, well, they know they're in charge of the country. The problem is they've seen what CNN and MSNBC did to Trump and things like the New York Times and the Washington Post. So they reckon that they're going to do the same thing to Johnson. Why? Well, I don't know. Media here seems to have become infected by this, what I see as an American disease, where the media have decided they are the government. Here we are. This year's ceremony was billed as a celebration of British television after 2 tough years of production through the pandemic. However, the event became a platform to attack the government on issues including its handling of COVID and its decision to privatise Channel 4. Oh yes, the fact that the government isn't going to subsidise a TV channel is gosh, that's going to get their disapproval, isn't it? The criticism won applause from the audience at the Royal Festival Hall, yes, London, but the strongest comments were cut from the BBC One broadcast. So not only are they calling for the overthrow of the government, but they are also censoring it from the British public. Very honest, isn't it? And that's why I'm making this video, so that more people know. That's why I want you to share the video. We'll get to that at the end, won't we? All right, the BBC said winners, this is what the BBC said about cutting their political content. Winners' speeches were edited due to time constraints. However, sources at the event said that the anti-Tory comments breached BBC compliance rules on impartiality. Of course they do. But since when has anyone thought that the BBC was impartial anymore? The surprise winner, well, yeah, about a Welsh teenager whose mother suffers from mental illness. Oh, that sounds like a blast, doesn't it? The show's writer, Kayleigh Llewellyn, highlighted the lack of available beds in mental health units since the Tory government slithered into power in 2010. You know, there has always been a problem with mental health provision in this country. It's been, every single government has had problems with this. And in fact, every government has had problems with it since mental health issues made themselves known. The word bedlam, by the way, comes from Bethlehem Hospital, which is where the insane were confined. Now, they were thrown into dungeons, basically, and not taken care of very well, mistreated, underfed, unless they had relatives who came in occasionally with food. It was, but you see, society has always had a problem with its insane people. And of course, sometimes it's gone overboard in insanity diagnoses. In the 19th century, when there were a lot of what were called insane asylums. I want to point out that the word asylum is supposed to be invoking the idea of a place of safety, which it wasn't. It was a sort of prison, and when you get prisoners, you get prison warders, and prison warders tend often not to be nice people. I'm sorry, but they're in a situation where psychologically they are in absolute power over their patients, and that you very often get abuses there. But anyway, there were many insane asylums in Britain in the 19th and the early 20th century, and more people were being confined there when they didn't need to be. There are cases where girls who got pregnant out of wedlock were confined by their families in insane asylums. In the 19th century, it was quite common and well known that husbands who wanted rid of wives would find a doctor to certify them insane and get rid of them that way. So there has always been a problem with either diagnosing or confining or not confining mad people. And it's not a feature of the Conservatives, and we can keep on trying various ways of dealing with people with mental illnesses, but we will never get it right, for a very sensible reason, that people who are mad are not sensible, and they're not sensible in hundreds of thousands of different ways. I'm not saying we shouldn't try, by the way. I'm just saying that blaming one government over the other for insanity, a provision for looking after the insane, it's got a total lack of perspective. There's a hospital in, I'm just trying to remember, babies were dying in this hospital. This was under the Labour government. And the hospital was a complete mess. It was badly run. There was some sort of corruption going on, and the government wasn't taking any notice of it. You could blame them for that. I think it was hundreds of babies who died in the neonatal care over years and years, and nothing was done about it. There are children's homes in Labour councils where the children were abused or murdered, and the council, you can keep on going like that. The point is, you can keep on going like that. Anyway, this Kayleigh Llewellyn, who obviously has no sense of perspective, said we need to get the Tories out, to applause from the audience, which included BBC's Director General Tim Davie. The winner of the Best Single Drama, blah, de blah. The producers read out a statement from the COVID-19 Bereaved Families for Justice group calling for a public inquiry to be expedited. The last thing I heard was that now that the excess deaths figures have been gathered for all the European countries, Britain has done very well. Not as well as Sweden, interestingly enough, which had no lockdown. I did say, I have to point out that I am on the right side here, because although I agreed with the first lockdown while the government got its act together, after that I said only older people should have to be kept confined in that way. And that didn't happen, and I don't think the government took the right steps. But they took righter steps than is common in many of the other countries in Europe. So again, you can concentrate on one thing and say this government wasn't perfect, but without looking at the broader context, I do not know what's going on through these people's minds, actually. And the only thing I can think of is they want to exercise power. It says here, bereaved families have been ignored, lied to and gaslighted by a government seemingly too busy partying to spare us a thought. Well, Keir Starmer was busy partying as well, It's not that they were too busy partying. Really, they were making mistakes. That's a different thing. Now, I want to just bring your attention to one thing down here. Lorraine Kelly is a talk show host, a morning talk. I don't watch her programme. Lorraine Kelly presented an award and made a reference to a Boris Johnson interview on Good Morning Britain last week in which the Prime Minister appeared to have no idea who she was. Oh, and that is terrible. And this is exactly what I'm saying about the people in the BAFTA Awards. The fact that the Prime Minister didn't know who Lorraine Kelly was. They're not saying that's because he's busy doing politics. No, it's just a terrible sin and so funny that he doesn't know a talk show host on some morning programme. A special hello to Boris. I'm Lorraine, she said when she arrived on stage. And everybody thought that was so clever. Well, why didn't they say, well, that means that he's busy doing stuff and not watching TV in the mornings? No, because the unforgivable thing that the actors are narcissists. They have to be. By nature, they have to be narcissists. They should not be given the reins of government. They see things short term, they are used to dealing in fantasy, and they are totally self-absorbed. I've been around them, I know. And they have their place. I'm not saying that makes them bad people. I am saying that it makes them terrible politicians in general. There are some sensible ones. Not many, though. All right, well, that's it. Okay. I am Grannyopteryx. I am on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I am at Grannyopteryx on Twitter, Gab and Parler. And I let you know when I've uploaded a new video on those platforms. So if you subscribe to me on one of those, you'll never miss a show. Okay, like this one, share it, subscribe, and support the channel if you can, and see you next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Grannyopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.grannyopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.